believe it, it's already week 2.2. So let's get started. So here are your journals for this week. Oh, Miss Cook has to be my little clicker. So today you are writing a story where the main character is this cat. And then Tuesday you're going to write your journal. Consider a time when you've bonded with an animal. Write about that time and what made it so special. Bonded means you've gotten close to that animal. And then Wednesday's a free write. Thursday is write about a time when you felt betrayed. What does betrayed mean, Miss Cook?
When someone does something wrong to you. So you expect them to be honest and truthful, and they are not.
So a time when you felt like somebody did you wrong.
Yes.
And then Friday is Fiction Friday. Write a fiction story about a spy.
Ooh.
That should be a good one. And remember, you need to have a beginning, middle, and end to your story, your journal, and at least 10 sentences.
All right. So our agenda this week, guys, you have this. It is full of stuff. So get started on it.
Yep, we have a
Check
full
those
week
things
this
off.
week.
And then our objectives. You will learn and use new vocabulary, read and analyze informational text, analyze how anecdotes contribute to the structure of a text,
Anecdotes. That sounds like a new word we might talk about.
determine key ideas in a text, conduct research about animals.
Ooh,
that sounds fun. Write an informative essay about animal communication, discuss the behaviors of familiar animals with a small group, use Latin roots, use correct capitalization, and discuss the features of the text using the key terms heading, subheading, and caption.
Ooh, so when I hear headings, subheadings, and captions, that kind of makes me already think about what our genre might be. Are you thinking about that too?
I am. So vocabulary this week.
It'll be like we've had in the past. Last week we took a week off from our vocabulary. Now we're going to get back on track with our vocabulary.
So vocabulary, environment, eavesdrop, foil, stake, and intercept. Now I want you to stop for just a minute and think about how many of these words are familiar to you.
Oh, I'm sure you already know environment.
Yeah, so think in your head, how many of these words could you use in a sentence? And just go ahead and hold up your fingers. I know I can't see you, but hold up your fingers, let me know how many of these words are familiar to you.
I bet 2 of them on that board, besides environment, I bet 2 of them are really familiar, but I bet you are using them differently than how we're going to use them today.
Yes, so 2 of these words are multiple meaning words. And so we're going to check out a different way to use these words today. Can you figure out which ones those are?
Which 2 might have a different meaning to what you might first think?
So our first word is environment, the natural world. Rattlesnakes can be found in a variety of environments, including prairies and deserts. You have synonyms and antonyms here, and you see there are some antelope in their natural environment. Remember, when you're doing your vocabulary study guide, you only have to pick 1 synonym and 1 antonym, but make sure you're studying those for your test. Eavesdrop. This guy is eavesdropping. He's using the old glass against the door trick. Eavesdrop means to listen secretly to others' private conversations. It's not polite to eavesdrop on someone's conversation. You really should not do that.
No.
Foil. I love this picture. This is one of those multiple meaning words. When I hear the word foil, I automatically think of the silver stuff we put on leftovers.
That's what I figured you were thinking of, because that's my first thought too.
But this is actually a verb that means to stop a person from being successful at something. The superhero foiled the villain's plan to take over the world, and you can see these little guys from Scooby-Doo, they foiled this guy's plan. They
Seems
stopped
like that
him.
always happens on Scooby-Doo. They're always
Yes.
foiling someone's evil plan.
For sure. So you have your synonyms and antonyms. Stake is another one. Okay?
Mhm.
When I see steak spelled this way, S-T-A-K-E, I think of the stake that I put in the ground to hold my tent in place. This is a different one. This means something that can be gained or lost in a situation, such as money, food, or life. He has a stake in the company because he used his own money to start it. And guys, you can see each of these people have a puzzle piece that they're putting in. They each have a stake in the puzzle. They're each putting part of it in. And if something happens, they all lose something.
They all have a piece of it that's important to make the whole thing work.
So that is stake. Intercept. To stop or interrupt something.
This is a good picture.
The football player intercepted the pass. You see, it was meant for this guy. That guy grabbed it. You are probably pretty familiar with that word. All right. So on Tuesday, you're actually going to get to add more roots to your word journal. Remember, your word journal will be in your Google Drive. So go to Google Drive, click on Classroom, click on Reading, or whatever your classroom name is, and then you will find that. If you really can't find it, go to last week's assignments, that Monday Greek roots activity, and you'll find your journal there. Tuesday. And you're going to add these Latin roots just like we did with the Greek roots. So you'll see some of these words are bold. Those are the words that go in the blanks, and there aren't many of them.
So you're going to have to open up this slide right here, and you're going to have to open up your journal, and you're going to have to copy those words into your journal. Some of you were very confused last week about how to do that. It's just like when we do our vocabulary study guide.
Yep,
Same thing.
So Latin roots are just like Greek roots, but they come from the Latin language. And so again, when we learn these roots and learn what they mean, it helps us understand the meaning of unfamiliar words. So we're going to learn some of these Latin roots. On Wednesday or Thursday of this week, you'll be taking a little quiz, same way you did last week. You can use this word journal to help you answer the questions on the quiz. So use your resources when we allow you to do that. So you will notice that Tori and Ori are Latin roots, and they all connect these words. So they turn a noun into an adjective: predatory, auditory, factory, sensory. Okay? So Latin roots are they have a little bit more power to change
the base word.
Change the base word than Greek roots do. And a lot of times you will find them changing nouns into adjectives, or nouns into adverbs, or verbs into adverbs by adding ly or ness. And so pay attention to that as you go through. So you see, you have lots of words. You will fill in your journal. And I'm not going to read all these to you. You might see some familiar ones. Duo means two. Bi means two. Tres means three. You're probably familiar with those already. Now, on to one of my favorite parts.
I love this.
Making inferences.
Okay, so let's look at the picture here. What can you infer about this photograph? And remember, we're going to use our sentence. I infer that the squirrel is looking for seeds because he's bending the flower down and looking in the middle. Ms. Cook, what do you infer?
I infer that the squirrel is disappointed because of the look that he has on his face.
So remember that inferences aren't right or wrong as long as you're basing them on what is in the picture. Okay? What can you infer about this photograph? Let me get a good look at it. I infer that the baby and the dog want a drink because both of them are leaning in and watching the dad drink his drink.
I infer that the dog is lazy because he's sitting in the stroller.
Ooh, good one. Okay. What can you infer about this photograph? I infer that this bird is swooping down to grab a fish because it looks like it's about to land on the water.
I infer that the duck is tired and needs a break because he's coming in to land on the water.
What can you infer about this photograph? I infer that the dad and daughter are sharing a special moment because it looks like she's holding his arm and they're staring out at the sunset.
I infer that that's a grandpa and a little girl, and they're talking about the ocean because it looks like the outline of a man and a little girl, and they're staring at the ocean.
What can you infer about this photograph? I infer that the little boy is having fun running through the water because he's smiling and you can see, looks to me like driplets of water.
I infer that it's summer because they're outside in the water and so it has to be hot.
Okay,
So,
I hope you enjoy those making inferences. Those are fun.
I agree. Let's look at our story of the week. It's a good one this week.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Our essential question, what can you learn by seeing the world through an animal's eyes? So our story is probably going to be about
An animal.
animals.
Well, we've had PAX and we've had the zoo.
Mm-hmm.
So we've already been able to see a lot of good stories told through the eyes of animals or creatures. I can't wait for today's.
Yes. So have you ever had a sneaking suspicion that your family or the pet of someone you know has been spying on you or listening in on your conversation? Let me tell you, Christoph, when he knows that I'm trying to have a private conversation, he will sneak into the room and he'll stare at me. He knows when something's going on. He's a sneaky little guy.
And Jack and Babe also, they sometimes act like they know what I've been talking about. And they like to sneak in and listen to my conversation, especially if I'm on the phone and they notice a change in my voice. Jack looks at me and kind of edges closer like, oh, I'm so sorry. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So you will be doing a preview the text video, so make sure you watch that. Go over it. You'll have your PDF copy. Use that. Our story this week is actually an informational text. So remember, an informational text is a type of nonfiction. It gives us factual information. It always includes evidence to support the ideas. It contains text features, and sometimes it could be a news article or an essay. And it also will include science writing, so things that include complex scientific topics that's broken down so that we can understand it a little more easily. Our author this week is Peter Christie. He loved exploring nature in the fields and stream of his native Canada as a child. He's a freelance science author and editor, and he enjoys writing for young people because they're naturally curious. Young people also love a good story, so he believes that the best science writing is about telling a story. And in his exploration of animal behavior and intelligence, he continues to find many stories to tell. So he has two interests. He likes telling stories to children, and he likes animals. So he put them together to teach children about animals.
So I can already predict he's going to be a good storyteller.
I agree. So our story this week is Animal Snoops. You will be listening to it, you will be previewing it, you will be listening to analyze the text. Make sure you go through each of those videos and spend some time getting familiar with this story.
Well, and the reason that you need to watch those videos is it really helps you to learn more about the story, because in 6th grade, we're not just reading the story and taking a simple test on it. As you've discovered, we're diving really deep into that text. And we do it in class. We want to make sure you're doing that as well. All right, so this week we're going to be talking about text structure. And we use that word anecdote, I have a hard time saying that sometimes, at the very beginning. So what is an anecdote? An anecdote is a short account of an event that is usually intended to entertain or make a point. Authors use anecdotes to introduce or illustrate important ideas in a way that is easy to understand and remember. As you read the following informational text, note how the author uses anecdotes to structure and present his ideas. Think about how the anecdotes help explain those ideas in a humorous and entertaining way. So I want you to be thinking about that as we read our story this week.
Normally I don't expect in an informational text to find stories that are humorous.
No.
So I'm curious to read that and find out how
It'll
the
kind of be
author does
interesting
that.
to see how you take information that's usually just given to you to inform you and make it kind of funny. We'll have to see. Okay, so key idea and details. To develop and deepen your understanding of what you read, you need to be able to determine key ideas and evaluate details of the text. So what is a key idea? A key idea is a very important idea about a topic in the text. As you read, write down key ideas of the text. So we do that in class. We take little notes as we're reading. I know you don't have the book, but you can have notebook paper to make little notes on. And you include important details from the text that support your key ideas. So an example, the key idea is birds are very intelligent animals. The details, birds can sense danger, they warn their companions, they know to be still and blend in to stay safe. All of those details are going back to your key idea.
Mm-hmm.
So as you're listening to the story this week and reading the story this week, grab a piece of notebook paper and write down the key ideas and the details that prove those, and it will help you to understand the story a lot better.
And here's a hint. Our story is broken down into headings. Each section probably has a key idea.
Yep.
It's probably related to the title of that heading. So generally you want to find one key idea in each of those sections, and then find the details that support that. At least 2 or 3 for each idea.
And I think that will really help you with understanding your story as well.
So let's talk about grammar. You guys have been doing a really great job learning how to write proper sentences, learning how to use verb tenses. Today, we're going to go back a little bit. We've already talked about proper nouns, and we know that proper nouns have to be capitalized, but we're also going to talk about something else. So we know that proper nouns are names of people, names of specific places, months of the year, days of the week, holidays, titles, countries, states, towns. Related to that are proper adjectives. So proper adjectives take a proper noun and turn it into an adjective. So for instance, Italian means from Italy. So Italy is a country. Anything from Italy is Italian. It could be the food, the people, the language, but it's also capitalized because it's from Italy. Chinese means from China. Texan, from Texas. English, from England. African, from Africa. Okay, so these proper adjectives, just like proper nouns, also have to be capitalized. So we're going to find the proper noun or proper adjective in the sentence. We had Chinese food for supper. Well, I see Chinese is capitalized and it means from China. That's our proper adjective. Maria went to Walmart to pick up some candy. Well, Maria is a name, so that's a proper noun. Walmart is a store, a specific store, so it is our proper noun as well. What are you going to be for Halloween? Ooh, Halloween is a holiday. That's our proper noun. I plan to make caramel apples for Miss Shuttlesworth.
Ooh.
So Miss is a title, it has to be capitalized, and Shuttlesworth is a name, has to be capitalized. My English class is my favorite, obviously. English is a proper adjective, it has to be capitalized. Don't forget that your homework is due on Friday. Friday is our proper noun, a day of the week. So now we're going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to find the proper noun that should be capitalized. So I made it a little more difficult. I didn't capitalize them this time. My sister and I love Italian cooking.
What is it?
Can you find it?
What is the word?
It's
Italian.
so Italian should be capitalized because it is a proper adjective. Jamaica was formerly a British colony, a region ruled by the United Kingdom, or UK.
Ooh,
There are several
there's
in this
several
one.
in there.
Can you find them? I know British
because it's people from Britain.
are British. Yeah, that's a proper adjective. United Kingdom is a country, and UK is an acronym of the United Kingdom, so it also needs to be capitalized. The Pacific Northwest region of the United States has many national forests.
Ooh, that one's kind of tricky to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, a proper noun is an exact place. Like, you can actually know exactly where it is.
So, we know United States is a country, so that must be capitalized. Pacific Northwest, because it's a region, also needs to be capitalized.
You can say Pacific Northwest, and you can easily find that on a map.
We visited the English countryside. What do you think? English, another proper adjective. We enjoyed strolling through the quaint Austrian village. I know. Austrian, another proper adjective. So you will have a couple of these to practice, being able to identify and capitalize proper nouns and proper adjectives, and make sure in your writing you are capitalizing those every time.
And this week, our story that we're going to be writing, I say story, that's what we started calling it in my classroom, but our writing of the week, if you will, is we're going to be writing an informational text. This is our first time to write an informational text. So you're going to write an informational text about a topic that you are familiar with. It must contain 5 paragraphs. So how many sentences would we need in 5 paragraphs? Well, if we're saying about 5 a paragraph, that's about 25 sentences. It must contain 2 text features related to the text. So it needs a map, a chart, a graph, a bold word, a photograph, an illustration. It has to have at least 2 headings. And you may research to learn more information about your topic. So for example, let's say I decided that I wanted to write about snakes. Well, I know some things about snakes, but probably not enough to make a paper that long. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of research, and I'm going to have to decide what I want my topics and subtopics to be. Well, my topic is snakes, my subtopics. Maybe I want to talk about habitats. Maybe I want to talk about venomous and non-venomous. And then I can do my research so that I can write about the habitats of snakes and then write about my venomous and non-venomous snakes. I know you can do it. Probably what I would do is Monday I would start my research and I would start making my notes. And then Tuesday, I would go back and start adding a little bit more to that so that by Friday, I have all of my notes, I have everything ready, and I've started working on my writing. Don't wait until the last minute because this is going to take a little while. This is something you really have to work on every day. And don't turn it in on Monday when you've spent 5 minutes on it.
Right.
You have to research and you have to find something that you're interested in and familiar with to write your paper on.
And with that, guys, we are done. I hope that all of this makes sense. I hope that you have a great week. Remember, you can go back and watch this video if you need to know about anything. You can always email us if you have any questions.
Email us if you're having problems with something. We might not be able to get to you right away because we're also teaching in person, but we always try to get to you as soon as we can to help you fix your problems.
Yes, and so get your work done. Have a wonderful week, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye.